Hi, everyone. Greetings for the day. We have a new series up for you, which is called the Secret Series by Edu-Astro. And here we are going to talk a lot about and disseminate a lot of knowledge about astrology in different forms and shapes. At the same time, we are going to talk to a lot of different people one by one, and we are going to incur a lot of knowledge and pass it on to you, right? So today we have with us Deepak. Hi, Deepak. And
Hello, Kabir.
we are looking at this gentleman who is from Bangalore, and he's a techie and has been practicing and learning astrology for around 4.5 years or more. But the interesting part is that he is from a family of astrologers from four generations, right? And it's very important for us to understand how he perceives astrology so that we can use this knowledge, use this science as a very great tool to improve our lives. Okay. So, with that, Deepak, welcome to the show. And we are like, I said show, but it is not a show, it's a discussion. And we are going to have a lot of interesting talks about a lot of things, right? Today, we are going to focus on how we use astrology in our lives, how we can better our lives using this particular divine science. Okay. So, but before even moving there, I would really want to ask you to tell our viewers a bit more about yourself. And uh, I would really want to understand more that what um, I should say, what interest do you have, or rather, what interested you to come into this particular stream apart from the job which you do? And how do you feel about it? What impact has it has on your lives? And what our viewers can take from you and your experience so that we can, make some impacts in lives of some people.
Sure. Thank you, Kabir, for the lovely introduction. As you said, I'm a techie in Bangalore. I've been in Bangalore for the past 10 years now. And, you know, uh, astrology for me, it has always been a very curious field for me while growing up, even before anything, right? My grandmother used to be so aware of things like at home, like for whatever advice my family needed, everyone used to go to my grandmother to understand, to actually seek her advice for to start anything new. Like if someone wanted to travel, they would go and ask her, like, is this a good time, auspicious time to travel? I never really understood why would people go and ask her. Well, how does it matter? You can just travel, you can just start your travel anytime that you want, right? And even for things like, if my grandmother wanted to go from one son's house to another son's house, she would look at the tithi, the nakshatra, everything, and then she would decide. And at the same time, she would advise everyone at home. And that was the first conception of astrology inside my mind, right? And after that, to observe things, right? I mean, such minute things, right? Like my grandmother used to say, never pass salt from your hands to another person's hand directly, right? If you go to a barber, do not enter the house without taking bath, right? Always used to think they were superstitions. Okay, but only later on, after getting into astrology, I understood that those things actually made some sense through astrology, through the energies that are around us. Okay, and from there, after that, I kind of lost touch during my education, my college days. I used to randomly look at the newspaper column, which would give the sun sign, in uh, for the weekly predictions, and which kind of some, as part of entertainment, right? That will be a part of our discussion today, like why
True.
astrology and how astrology has evolved over the past few years, right? And like 4 or 5 years ago, a friend of mine, he made a prediction for me. Like I was suffering from pain in my heel. Okay, and he used to look at charts, and I had asked him, like, can you tell me when would I get over it? He said, by this time your pain should subside. And surprisingly, it was true. It came out to be true. And that is when I started, oh, this is something. I mean, how can someone predict something on how, something, pain in my foot, and how can someone predict that it would get over by the time? And that day I started picking up some stuff. I asked him to teach me something, and he taught me some stuff. And that's when I never stopped after that. Every day astrology has been a part of my life. And I would like to know about your journey in astrology.
My journey in astrology started from Linda Goodman, right?
Yeah. Linda Goodman.
Linda Goodman, right?
Linda Goodman. She's been very notorious in a lot of people's lives.
And
Let it.
see, Linda, when I read her book, I think I don't know about before that, but when I was growing up, that was the first book which I saw that dealt with astrology at a lot of deep levels, but in a very different manner, right? Very easy to understandable manner. That's the whole point. But
Yeah.
that was that time, right? When I was growing up. Then, as the career progressed, as the age progressed, I met a lot of people who made a lot of predictions. And there
Yeah.
was one set of person or people who made some real good predictions about my life. And I never used to believe in astrology or anything of that sort, right? Reading a Linda Goodman was more of an entertainment,
Yeah.
and looking at the newspaper was also more of an entertainment,
Yes, of course. Yeah.
right? But when some specific predictions were made, I was zapped. That is when I started to understand, okay, what does this mean? And thankfully, across the years, last 8 years, 8 years, yeah, approximately 8 years, I have come across a lot of good people who have taught me, and
Yeah.
I've learned from them very well. So that when I understood the maths and the statistics behind it, then I could understand, okay, this is the reason why it happens. And there is a design to the entire madness which is there.
Yeah.
That is the journey. And from there on, obviously, now I am practicing astrology on a daily basis, at the same time, learning astrology on a daily basis. And I don't think this journey is going to stop ever. Right?
We can never
This
stop learning, can we?
because it is a vast science. It takes generations to get all the knowledge, and at the same time, in one lifetime, you can't get it. So, as good as I might become, or at any given point of time in life, I would always remain a student of astrology, an
Yeah, of
astrology
course.
enthusiast, if you can say. So that is the background behind. But at the same time, as I learn, as we learn, as people who are learning this particular science, it becomes our responsibility to pass on whatever we have learned to whosoever wants to take it. It's not a
Yeah.
force majeure, right? That you have to take it. The science is there. If you want, you can take it. If you don't want, don't take it, but it
Yeah.
has real good impacts in everybody's life, right? And with that, I think if we start our discussion today, people will start thinking a bit, at least a few of them, that how can we use this science to better this our lives on a daily basis, because astrology as a science is a way of life more than only prediction. That you would agree with,
Exactly.
right?
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
So can you give me an incident wherein somebody would have called you or spoken to you, or something would have happened on these particular lines, that okay, whether I should be using the science or not? If you have any incidents, it will be great, because people would be able to relate to
Yes, of course. I mean, I have a lot of people around me who were pretty skeptical about the science. When we talk about astrology as a science, even now, if we Google astrology on Wikipedia, it says it is pseudoscience. Can you believe it?
it. Yeah,
It still says it is
yeah.
pseudoscience.
Everybody
And
has their opinion, which is okay.
and small tidbit, Sri K.N. Rao had actually filed a petition in the Supreme Court to actually prove
Yeah,
that astrology is pure science.
yeah,
Unfortunately, he lost it. Yeah, yeah. So coming
yeah,
back to it, yeah, coming back to it, people around me have been skeptical. As we were discussing astrology as entertainment, right? Looking at the newspaper for the weekly prediction. At the same time, it has also instilled a lot of fear among people, right? Like, I mean, if someone is given a prediction, will the prediction play on their mind, and will it be a bias in their mind? Should, I mean, subconsciously, do they work towards it because of the prediction that was made to them, or are they doing it, proactively? That is a
yeah.
kind of conflict that people do not want to go through. A lot of
You
people
know,
around me,
I have also experienced this. There are many people who come to me to deduce a particular situation, not because they want to know about it, but rather they want to have a workaround for that. And it is like going from answer say question tak, not question say answer. It's like that.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
feeling. And there are plethora of people in the world who would need some help, and there are plethora of people in the world who have this knowledge. But there are many times wherein predictions fail. There are many times wherein uh, people try to go from answer to question, and that is when the confusion starts and the disbelief starts, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that is where all the problems start. But actually, if you look at it, the answer to this particular science is more of a science for the way of life and
Yeah,
predictions also. But if you understand that, that's fantastic.
yeah, of course. So, yeah, as you said, I mean, it is a way of life, right? You know, the tool that we have, it is for me as a, it all started with to understand more about myself, right?
Yeah,
Um, our education system has no such tool which helps us understand ourselves better. Okay, I've always been looking for a tool which helps me do that. Okay, but I found astrology to be the best one. I'm not saying that there is no other science or no other tool, but this is a brilliant tool to understand why we are and what we are and what are we capable of, right?
true.
So so after I looked at my chart and after I started studying, after I started learning, I actually understood a lot of things about myself. Okay, it gave me
Yeah,
a lot of peace. Okay, and after doing that, I really hope that everyone goes through that, right? And
true.
so I was reading an article a few months ago saying that this this astrology science used to be only for the elites, like at
Yeah.
50 years ago, 50 years ago, only for the elites, only some, some divans in palaces or maharajas used to get some consultations. Normal people would
and
never get it.
and if you look at it, uh, in India, we will know, most of the people will know that we had four Vedas: Rig Veda,
Yeah,
Yajurveda, Atharvaveda, and right. So,
yeah,
astrology came from one of the Vedas as a part
yeah,
of one of the Vedas, and that too, astrology is not a part of it. Astrology is a part of Panchang. Okay, there are many more things, and then astrology comes, right? So we are
yeah,
not going into the details of that. That will be another session for that. We are going to
yes,
explain that, right, and talk about that in detail. Very interesting. But from the Vedic times, astrology is coming in, and it is established as a science. What? Right angle triangle, Pythagoras theorem,
Pythagoras
right?
theorem. Yeah,
Right. I, if I remember correctly, where I have read 550 BC or something, it came in, right? And Lagadh, who was one of the best astronomers in India, had in around 500 BC, like 50 years back or something like that, wherever I read,
yeah.
had already deduced that Earth has three types of motions: rotation, revolution, and the axis also revolves, right? Axis also rotates, not revolves, right? So it's coming from that time. Astronomy then was used as another layer was added to it, and astrology
Yeah,
came into being. And
yeah,
people have been using that, but at that time also, astrology was majorly used for bigger things, not for every day's hustles,
predictions.
right?
Yes,
Predictions or
yes, correct.
hustles. It was used for whether there will be a famine or whether there will be an attack or something like that.
Yeah,
And the Raj
yes,
Jyotishis, as we used to call them, they used to be
yeah,
deployed with the king. And as you said, it was for the elite at one point in time. Yes, but
correct.
now it the time has changed. We have a lot
Thanks
of
to the technology
softwares.
that we have. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks to the
and
technology that we have, our chart is ready. Even our predictions are coming in like 2 minutes, right?
in 2 minutes, right?
Yeah,
So that is a boon. That is a boon in disguise.
it
Only that,
is.
how do we use it, right? Jagannath
Yeah,
Hora is one of the best softwares in the Narsma Rauji has already made. So that is like extremely
thanks
good.
to him.
Plus, there are many more softwares which are very good, but
Correct.
it's like that has helped us a lot. People like us.
It did. It certainly did. Yes.
And if you
Yeah.
look at it, if you look at the entire universe, and we all know that we are made of 5 elements, and if we don't know that, we know that 70% of our body is water, blah blah, all that stuff, right? But
Yeah.
at the same time, if you put a little bit of logic into it, that if there are certain factors which are playing in the universe, then somehow or the other we as human beings will also be affected. As simple as it, right? So this science holds the widespread knowledge. It is extremely deep, and the knowledge is very, very, very acute, and it's very widespread. It has caught people's eyes because of the miracles of prediction and a lot of other things. But more importantly, as you and me mentioned, that it is a way of life, right? That is much
Yeah,
more
it is.
important, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
if you see the practical implementations on a daily basis, it is fantastic, right? Starting from the time we are born to all the events which happen in our lives till we die, everything can be decoded, encoded, and I'll not say rectified, but yes, a path can be shown for all these particular events in our lives through this particular science, right?
Correct.
Any
Yes.
other experiences you have which you would
Yeah.
want to share?
So yes, of course. So I mean, looking at the chart, if I had looked at my chart, I would go back in time and tell my parents that please put this kid into music. He has a tendency, right? So that is the whole concept of this chart, right? I mean, it is actually the snapshot of all the planets at the time that we were
Mm.
born at, and with with the chart, every person will have certain innate abilities, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, we will get into the details in subsequent sessions and discussions. But coming to that, if a person is, if a person is put on the right path at a very early age, okay, at the very nurturing age, if the thought gets conceived in a person's mind correctly, and if it's manifested well, the person's trajectory itself can change pretty well in, right?
And
Okay.
more important, and also apart from the trajectory, imagine the happiness of the soul. That
Yeah,
person will
exactly.
be happy internally because he will be vibrating to the actual vibration which he or she is supposed to be at, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
when we come to destiny's lecture, we will be able to understand that that does not happen all the time. Blah blah. All lot many deeper things are there, but yes, the fact remains the same that you would already have a better view of what needs to be done much more before you realize.
Correct. So coming to this discussion, I've been asked by people saying that, see, okay, why should I believe in this? Why should I take the advice of someone who looks at a chart, and someone tells me that, okay, this, you have an inclination towards it, why should I believe in it? Why should I take that path? Can't I just go and figure out by myself?
Yeah,
This is generally the question that I get asked, right?
yeah.
And what do you think? I mean, what should we tell people when someone asks like that?
I also have these same questions which come in. It is like a very normal question and a very legitimate question, I would say. Everybody should
Yeah.
ask this question. For anything
Mm.
you do in life, you need to be very clear about the why, right? So if somebody is asking, they have the full right and the full intelligence to ask this question, and it is very much appreciated. Now, why do you would want to uh, try out a science is totally up to you.
Yes,
Whether you
absolutely.
want to really understand it and do something better with your lives is totally up to you, right? But the
Yes, correct.
fact still remains that if I know from beforehand that what is the best possible path for me to take, or rather
Mhm.
where best possible frequency for me to align with, to have a much more satisfied soulful life, then I
Yeah.
would really take it. It took me a lot of years to go ahead and understand this. I took my time, my learning path. You took your time, your learning path. Everybody has their own time and learning path. But the point is, there is no coercion.
Yes.
If you feel like you should do it, there are many
Mm.
people who can help you. If you don't feel like, please don't do it. do it at the time when you feel like. And if you don't feel like any time for this particular life, don't do it. No problem. It is perfectly fine. Right? Totally up to
Yeah.
you. Totally
Yeah.
up to the person. But I
Yeah.
also get all these type of questions that why should we do it? And then I ask only one question, that if anybody says that either this thing is not really up to the mark, I don't believe in this science, everything is fine. I just ask them one question, that if you can explain me the logic of the different lives of twins who are born even a minute apart at the same location, same hospital, right?
Yes,
I
yes,
will
yes,
take whatever you are going to say,
yes. This
because
is such a
in
common question, isn't it?
yeah, it's such a common question.
This is
And this twins thing, the fundamental of twins having two different lives, 1 minute apart, is explained
yeah,
so well in this science that I
yes,
have not seen an explanation anywhere else, right?
yeah.
So that's the question I ask, and then the discussion ends. And then, depending upon the person's destiny and their interest, they take their own time to whether to follow this or believe this or learn this or whatever they do.
Yes. I think our education system in general has, made us, it has generally, made us to believe that, that we need to go with something which has proof, absolute proof, right? You know,
True,
people think that science and astrology are two different things,
that is
and
true.
uh, and people ask for proof. Where is the proof for it?
Yeah.
And
See, that is a very normal thing, Deepak. This is Kali Yuga, right? And if you look at it, what is written in the Shastras, that out of all the four yugs, this is the least intelligent. Very simple, simply put, right? Even
yeah,
when I still remember reading it after the Mahabharat war ended and
mhm,
everything happened.
yeah,
There was a
huh,
there was a time when this, what is it called, Shri Krishna was teaching something. Ashwathama was there, or Arjun was there, and all. And the day went by, and he said that we have entered the Kali Yuga now. Okay, the Dwapar
okay,
Yuga is finished.
hmm,
So from now on, all these teachings which I have given you, please go and bury them somewhere, because it is not required to come into Kali Yuga. This intelligence of this particular yuga is not that profound as in this or the previous ones. So all those
yeah,
things went off. It is written in the Shastras, but it has a deeper meaning, obviously, not literally what happened. But the point here is that there is a certain level of intelligence and there is a certain level of learning where we have to reach. Right? 6 billion people on earth, everybody will not be in that particular frame of mind. Everybody's
absolutely,
background, education
agreed.
systems,
Yes,
experiences will be very different. Right? So everybody will take their time to understand. Both of us, we never believed it at one point of time, but we understood. So if we are, and this is also a very important fact, that whether the destiny allows us to actually take heed of this science or not. So that will be fine. Education system is built up in a particular manner so that the
we could serve the
economy,
British Queen.
no, I would not say that. I would rather say that the education system has evolved over time, right? It was at the
Mm,
peak at one point of time, then it came down, then it went up, came down, went up. These swings will happen in every country. The point is,
yeah,
whatever the socio-economic behaviors are at that point of
mm,
time, the education system will somehow or the other facilitate the improvement of that. It might take time. Right now, we are in a phase where we have an education system wherein we learn XYZ things. Do we need to change it? Yes. Do we need to improve? Yes. And that will always be the case. So
yeah,
that's fine. But what is more important for people to understand is that if you want self awareness,
hmm,
if you want to improve your lives, there are many tools in the market. There are many people who can help you. And astrology as a science is already there, established from
yeah,
more than 5,000 years, which can help
correct,
you to do that. So if you really want to
absolutely,
learn,
totally agree.
people are there to help you.
Yes, it is one of the best tools, and it gives you a lot of answers.
Lot
That
of
that much I
answers.
can tell you. Yeah,
Lot
you
of
you pose a
answers.
question and you get the answer. The more you dig, the more you can find there.
the deeper you can find, right? And
Yeah.
just imagine the way astrology has been, the chart which we see, kundli, horoscope, the
Totally.
charts which we see, the
Yeah.
way it is designed, every portion or part of your life is designed in a very, very synchronized manner, right? You are
Yeah.
born, you have your family, you have your friends, you have your peace, you have your education, primary, higher, your service, your partners, business partners, spouse, marriage. Then you transform, then you move to
Higher
the next
education.
level, higher education,
Yeah.
enlightenment. Then you prove your actual karma. Then you go ahead and do your wish fulfillment. And after everything, you leave everything
Enlightenment,
and you go.
spirituality.
Enlightenment,
Yeah.
spirituality, you go, right? It
Yeah.
is so chronologically designed in such a beautiful manner that if anybody wants to really understand, they will be, the mind is blown if you are really trying to understand yourself, right? And at
Yes.
the same time, you have things like, now we all know 70% of earth is water, 70% of our body is water. Moon's gravity controls the tidal waves, everything is there. And in astrology, moon is designed or assigned significations in such a manner that it becomes one of
Yeah.
the most important part of your life. And yes, if there's no moon, then there is no earth. We know it very well,
Of course,
scientifically
absolutely.
also,
Yeah.
right? So like this, you will find so many similarities or real intelligence embedded into the science, that after you learn, it will be like amazing, amazing, right? And at the same time, as you mentioned before, Deepak, you will have more experiences for this, like when to actually go ahead and start a journey, when to buy a house, when to buy a car. All these things
Yeah.
can be pinpointed, right?
Absolutely.
Which car
Yeah.
you should buy, which color you should buy,
Which color of the car? Yeah.
color of the car. They
Yeah.
will be pinpointed, right?
And and
And
and
that is
and
the
coming
point.
to the color of the car, there is also the system of Vastu as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
There
and
is
so many
Vastu,
different variants here based on
so
astrology
many
and
different
and the guidance.
variants here,
Yeah.
right? And at
Yeah.
the same time, the most important point is that while we have so many things and the knowledge is so vast, that once you delve deep into it, after a point in time, you get confused.
Yeah.
देखे तो क्या देखे, what to see, what not to see, right? And
Yeah.
then you get
That's
confused.
true. Yes.
But
And then I'm
then
like,
as you,
let me get done with this. I don't want to get into this. And again, you come
exactly,
out of it, you detach, and again, it'll pull you in slowly.
it will
This
pull you
this
in.
this doesn't keep happening. Yeah.
There is a cycle, and after that, once you settle down, then you start understanding. It's not easy, but it is
Yeah.
very, very interesting. That's the point, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And if you look at how we can use it to, improve our lives on a daily basis, simplest of the examples, we have been told from our childhood, get a tulsi plant in your home.
Yeah.
Make sure you water it every day. Make sure you
Yeah.
worship it every day, right?
Correct.
Now, is tulsi plant your god? You can say that whatever, whomever you want to choose can be your god, but that's not the point.
Correct.
The point is, scientifically, tulsi gives you oxygen at night, right? And if it is there in
Exactly.
the middle of your home and you have plenty of oxygen, then obviously your health is much better. Plus, tulsi plant itself has medicinal
Personal
impacts,
values. Yes. Yes.
medicinal values and benefits, right? Such a simple thing put in a very proper manner as a way of life.
Yes.
Like
Correct.
this, there are so many things. Like
Yeah.
in our what is it called? Jupiter as the planet. It is said to be the biggest beneficiary. Correct? Biggest
Correct.
expansive planet beneficiary. If Jupiter is there in the first house or Lagna, then your chart is very strong. If it is in a strong place, practically all of your chart is problems is solved. Look at it from this
Yeah.
aspect. Jupiter is also represented, or Jupiter, turmeric is represented by Jupiter, right? And in
Yes.
any
Correct. Yes.
food which you make, the first thing which you put is turmeric.
And
Why?
it has got the best. What do you say? What do you call it? Healing ability.
Yeah,
Antiseptic. That's the word I missed out.
antiseptic ability.
Antiseptic.
So prevention.
And the US wanted to patent it. Turmeric.
That is fine. So I'm sure there are many people who would have wanted to patent or
Yeah.
do exactly
And
that. That's not the
coming
point. The
back to
point is like,
coming back to Jupiter, right? One point I want to make here. Jupiter as a planet, if it wasn't there, Earth wouldn't have been there, because
true,
with the asteroid attack, that many asteroids would have hit the Earth, and Jupiter with its magnetic force absorbs all of them
all
and
of them,
protects
right?
Earth.
And this is proven by NASA. This is proven by
Yes,
the
absolutely.
astronomical profound proofs which you have in front of you on the websites, on everywhere,
Yes.
right? So our ancestors, or the rishis, I would rather say, the maharishis, who have actually worked behind getting this science into one place, they not only knew that Earth was round, they also knew that there was a solar system, and the sun is the
Yeah.
center of the solar system, and there are other shadow planets, there are other mathematical points. They knew everything, and they have concised all the knowledge in a particular manner which is easy for you to use and improve your lives on a daily basis.
Yes, absolutely.
As we
Yes.
go ahead with the next sessions, we are going to anyways deep dive into each of these aspects, right? 9
Yeah.
planets, 12 houses, 12 rashis or zodiac signs, 27 nakshatras, 108, 4 pada of each nakshatra makes 108. Why 108 is
Yeah.
important, blah, 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 all those things. 100,
Yeah.
so many things are coming.
Apart from that,
But
we will address a lot of questions, the basic questions people
yes,
have, like what
yes,
is
that
Kundli
is the
Milan?
most interesting. What is Kundli Milan?
What is
Exactly.
what is Kundli Milan? Why should it be done? And I think a lot of families got destroyed because of this Kundli Milan in India.
And there are a lot of families who have really benefited from that too. Again, it
Yeah, because
this
they have taken it the right way. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it all depends upon one, the person who is giving the advice. Second, the accuracy of the details of your birth time,
Yeah.
place, and location. And
That is an aspect
also,
there.
that's an aspect. And also, it depends upon the maturity of the person who is coming to seek advice. That's also very important, right? All these
Yeah.
three things together play a role to get the benefit out of this particular science. As it is like, if I have a cough today, I go to a doctor, and there's one doctor who will say that it's normal cough, the other doctor might understand it in a different manner and say, okay, do this test, and something will come out and I'll get rectified. It
Yes, yes.
totally dependent upon that, right? So
True.
it's dependent upon me also, that which doctor I trust, or what do I understand when the doctor says that, beta, your cough is not because of the cold, but it is more because of the stress which you are taking on a daily basis, right? So
Yeah,
it can be
got
anything,
manifested there. Yes.
right? So it can be anything. But the point is, the next episodes which are coming up, you will be there, I'll be there. We might have some more people. I don't know
Yeah.
at this point of time, but both of us will certainly be discussing a lot of how we are going to take our experiences to people,
Hmm.
get the facts in front of them so that they can understand what is best for them. And we are anyways there to help everybody out, right?
Of
And
course, of course.
before I give the hint for what will be the next session about, we is there anything else you want to add from your experiences which people will benefit
Yeah. So, astrology as a tool that we were discussing, like why astrology today, and how can we make it better, right? Like for example, people ask me, how do you come up on a particular event? Correct? How do you arrive on a particular event? Is it just the snapshot of your birth chart just enough, or are there other factors that you need to check? Like people keep asking me, does the environment that you grow up play a factor? Does it? Doesn't it? I mean, it should play a factor, doesn't it? Now,
from?
will astrology answer those questions? Can it? And also, apart from that, I've always said yes, of course. It is the function of your snapshot, your chart, and your environment. It has always been there, your environment. And
Yeah.
even your environment can be reduced using astrology. What kind of environment you grow up in, even that can be seen. Also, if you have to arrive on a particular event, it needs to be chalked out using your chart, your dasha, the dasha that you're currently running, and the transit that keeps happening. Okay, if your birth chart has certain combinations, it only shows your inclinations in your life. It does
Yeah,
not guarantee anything, right? I mean,
very true.
your certain innate abilities there, right? Innate abilities is the snapshot of the birth chart, and the dasha is your inclination. Dasha is the inclination, and the transit is the opportunities that get posed towards you. Only when there is an intersection of all of these three can an event take place, right?
Exactly
So,
correct. Very true.
yeah.
Very
So,
true.
so
Because
when
generally I see people, this, they say that, oh no, Jupiter has made a move from Capricorn to Aquarius. What will happen in my life?
yeah,
People ask me, right? And
yeah,
I say, like, nothing will happen. Don't worry. You're going to get up in the morning. You're going to brush your teeth, eat your breakfast, go to your job, come back, and all that stuff. Everything is fine.
yeah,
And then they ask, and there are many times when I get questions like, मेरे बेटे का एग्जाम आ रहा है वो पास तो हो जाएगा ना so I say
yeah,
कि हाँ यार पब पढ़ेगा तो पास हो जाएगा if he'll study he'll go if your exams are coming in for your kid if he studies he'll
yeah,
pass there's no problem
yes,
the point
yeah,
is this is not how astrology should be used
yes,
the point
exactly.
the point
So
is
said.
much bigger and
Yeah,
that is when people start those people who start appreciating that they get a lot of benefit from the science.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, it needs to be look to answer deeper questions rather than very superficial ones.
Yeah, but I also understand the fact, Deepak, everybody will not be able to answer deeper questions. And when people are in anxiety or distress, they would come to people like us, and it totally becomes our responsibility to give them the accurate information, even if it is
Yep.
a mundane one. But at the
Yeah,
same time, it also becomes our responsibility to tell that person that, there are other things in life which you can benefit from this particular science if you really take it up in that particular manner. So
yeah,
that is the combination which we should be, the combination of advice we should be actually giving to our clients or people who come for help. But as you mentioned, if there are, if those three things do not conquer, then there is
yeah.
no congruence on that. There is no way that event is going to happen. The
Correct.
innate promise of the chart, the dasha, and the transit, three things need to
Transit.
be combined together to for an event to happen. And as obviously we
Yes,
are going in the next episodes, we'll be talking about them, so people will be able to understand much more.
of
But
course, absolutely.
it is good that you brought this point out because this is an extremely important aspect to be looked at for specifically those people who are right now trying to learn astrology, starting their journeys, so that you do not get deluded by the fact that a transit can make things happen, or an innate promise can make things happen, or a dasha can make things
Of course. Yes.
correct. Yeah.
So that's going to be our topic in the next session then.
And actually, the next session would be I am not going to uh, delve into these topics so suddenly because I do not want to burden everybody with everything, right? So, we as a team, what we are going to do is we'll take it very chronologically. Today, we have discussed that how we can use astrology for our own benefit for in our
Correct.
lives.
Yes. Yeah.
Next time, we are going to discuss that why should we treat astrology as a science,
Hmm. Sure.
and
That will be very
then
interesting to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then we will go ahead and understand that is astrology a science or it is also an art.
Yeah.
Once these things are clarified, it becomes much more easier for people to appreciate, understand, and take the knowledge inside and take it further. Right? So we'll go step by step, and lots of things are coming up. So
Yeah.
the
Lots of
request to all
knowledge,
the
lots of
lots
information.
of knowledge. The biggest thing is that we are not going to give gyan. We are going to we
Uh,
are going to be very practical in day-to-day examples, because Gyan is everywhere. You can take it from anywhere, no problem. But we are going to talk practical. And at the same time, what we are also going to do is going to display our website, eduastro.com, the contact at eduastro.com, that's our email, the WhatsApp number. If you go to the website, you will find the WhatsApp icon. You can go and contact us. Obviously, for any astrological consultations, any courses, or any other discussions which you want to have, either in astrology or numerology, both. And numerology is something we have not touched today. That will come up
yeah,
sometime later, but
sure.
we will start off with this so that we can take people in a particular direction and impart the best of our knowledge to the best of our abilities to improve everybody's life.
Sure. Sounds great, Kabir. Sounds great.
Right.
I'm really
So
excited.
we'll meet next week again, and we will
Yeah.
have another round of discussions. And I hope everybody would like the session. And if you have liked it, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Sure.
Please listen to the podcast, share your podcast, go to the blog, read the blog. You are going to get a lot of benefit from interacting with us. So stay connected.
Please, please leave your feedback. We would really appreciate it.
Certainly. Great. Thanks for the time, Deepak. And we will
Thank
now
you so
end the
much, Kabir.
session for today, and we will meet
Sure.
up next week. Great.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.